Absolutely. We got a great show for us tonight. But before we get into it, Dan, why don't we take the fans through how we arrived at the top 5 here tonight?
Yeah, so we've got, of course, our driver rankings. Now, the big rule is this is voted on by fellow competitors, not by any fans or anybody in the media. This is by fellow competitors. And you can, the number one rule is you can't vote for yourself. You've got to, vote for somebody else, and you can't be a teammate or anybody, on a team kind of situation. And based on driver ability, not on actually the equipment. So it's on driver ability. And as you can see, all these pullers that were, tasked with trying to rank these competitors, your number one got 5 points, 4, 3, all the way down. And the one with the highest amount of points is your highest ranked puller. So we went kind of like a, more or less like a college poll, in, any sport. And that's kind of how this was tailored after. And you can see next week we've got, the super stocks coming up. We got the mini rod. So we're about the halfway point here. We'll have the super stock diesel trucks, and then the unlimited modifieds will be our last show with the rankings. So we're to that halfway point here with the modifieds. And I'm pretty excited. I was working on, after last week's show with the pro stocks, it was one of those things where, Miles had just talked about it, where I was adding guys that, I forgot about last week. And, it's like, well, we got to move on to this week, so on to the modified. So that is how the rankings work. And once again, voted on by their fellow competitors, not by anybody else. So
fantastic.
There we go.
Well, why don't we go ahead and get right into it with number 5. Bollinger, Steve Bollinger doing the driving here for that ever competitive Money Pit machine. He is number 5 here tonight.
All right. So, yeah, there you go. Steve Bollinger, that number 5 spot with that Money Pit tractor. And there's a tractor that's kind of, evolved in, different classes here over the years. And, with the light unlimited class, and then ran the unlimited class. And now this year they kind of, settled in on the modified class and had a great year. Steve and his son Lane, of course. But hey, Steve voted number 5. Can't argue about that one.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of historical data there as well. You think about the Allisons and kind of what some of their roots are. Seeing those Hemis there is really not how those of us that think about Bollingers really remember them. But that's really where, over the course of the last several years, they've left a big mark.
For sure.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on here to our number 4 ranking here. Bill Voorhees will be ranked number 4. And of course, a guy that needs no introduction, and really a feel-good story for this past year with Bill coming back to the sport. How about you guys? I mean, it was really one of those things where it was like, this guy needs, there you go. This guy needs to be back in the sport. And boy, it was great to see him.
Well, absolutely. And I think, by definition, one of the crafty veterans, one of the elder statesmen in our sport, and it's great to see him back. But, the guy can flat out drive, has a, years long career in smoker tractors and then these modified tractors. And it's great to see him back. And I'm glad he was able to crack into the top 5 here tonight. Well deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, most of us probably don't categorize him from his roots really as a modified driver, but more in the unlimited class where he left the majority of his mark in the Hemi division. But as of late, obviously, really coming on board like crazy with the modified. And you could just see this year, even from Benson where he started to where he finished, and really started to just make some significant changes and differences in how he drove the tractor, what he wanted to do, and a big impact for sure. So very fitting for him to be in this top 5.
Absolutely. And, really, guys, the best part about it was, we were, at Bowling Green for the finale for the light mod class, And when it was all said and done, he was in contention to actually, for that championship for the light mod. So, I mean, didn't take him long, kind of like jumping off a diving board. He's right there.
Riding a bicycle.
Yeah, you bet.
Absolutely. Right back into it.
So I get the honor this evening of revealing number 3 in our modified tractor rankings and drivers.
Moneymaker, number 3 here tonight, Brett Berg out of the state of Minnesota. What can you say? Another elder statesman or crafty veteran, as I like to say, who's been in multiple different ranks from his start in pulling to now, and always tough no matter what.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think if you were going to talk about the modified tractor class and somebody who deserved to be in contention here in this discussion, he is on the list, and I think he has to find his way onto everybody's list. I don't know how anybody omits him from this top 5.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and another guy that, has roots in the smoke and then moving on into the modified class. But I mean, believe it or not, I mean, we are just about 30 years now that Brett Berg has been driving a modified. I mean, it doesn't seem like that, but you start looking at it, you're going, oh yeah, it was, later, mid to late 90s there that he started the modifieds, and it's like hard to believe that we're already there. But man,
agreed.
So 3 down and 2 to go, and so I have the honor of introducing our second place here tonight. One maybe not as crafty a veteran, but a veteran nonetheless. And this guy has been on a tear. It just seems like wherever they show up with this machine out of Farley, Iowa, they are in contention. And Brandon Simon, of course, will drive the wheels off of anything from a 2-wheel drive to a pro stock to this modified tractor. And those guys are in contention no matter where they go. And it's good to see the Simon Says machine in here tonight.
Second consecutive week that we find him in our driver rankings for the top 5. Last week, obviously, in the pro stock, and then now in the mod. I think that further illustrates the reach of what this young driver has been able to do already, and really kind of what's coming as he continues to just seem to be on a rail in that particular tractor right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in coming, from the light mod class, winning a couple championships over there. And then we saw, last couple of years, this has been one of the most dominant tractors out there. And, whether it's PPL and TPA, he runs them all. And, he's right there in the mix. And like you say, it's very impressive when you can jump from, a smoker tractor onto a 4-engine modified with all that horsepower, and, nothing's the same on them besides the tires. I mean, really, you look at that, but it's just very impressive. And so congratulations to Brandon.
Absolutely. I feel like the competitors and the people who were polled here have a very solid pulse on what's happening. And I kind of appreciate that. I think they really kind of hit the nail on the head and knocked this one out of the park. No question about it. And we got 1 to go, Dano.
All right. So we're down to it. Our number 1 driver here in the modified class, ranked by his fellow competitors. And guys, what can you say? I mean, the man's a legend.
He is.
When it comes to modified pulling, Mr. Bill Leichner with the Dirt Slinger, the number 1 ranked modified driver in competition, of course, voted by his fellow modified competitors. And, it says it all right there. And this year was a big cap for him. I was very happy that he went after that NTPA championship, and, he got it.
For sure. And always tough. I always like to see them up in the Illinois ranks. And, when I go to Henry, they're always very, very competitive, and it's always fun to see the Leischner family there kind of on their home turf. And the last couple of years they've been in the winner circle, or at least in the top 2 or 3 up there. So it's always good to see them. But it just seems like over the course of years, you never can count out the dirt slingers, and it doesn't matter whether they're in mini rods or this modified tractor or the other mods that they build. The Leichners are just on their game, no question about it. Bill and Jed and Shannon and the whole team there for sure.